Hey, beautiful people. It is Major, my mama's favorite hope dealer, and I want to welcome you to the Hope in Between, the podcast, episode 4, with myself, Major, and my good sister, Eunice Elliott. Eunice, how are you feeling today?
You know what? I feel less than energized, but amazing.
Wow. I've actually been there, so we can ask you to elaborate in a few. But before we do anything else, I think it is necessary for us all to catch our breath. Let's do it collectively on the count of three, beautiful people. One, two, three. Deep breath in, let it out. One, two, three. Deep breath in, let it out. This time, I want you to collect all of the concern, all of the worry, all of the pressure, all of the responsibility, the anxiety, the frustration, the misunderstandings, the good, the high things, the triumphs, the trials. Take it all in on the count of three. One, two, three. Let it out. This is what we call surrender and agreement with the present moment. Beautiful people, don't let life get you so caught up that you don't take a moment to catch your breath. It is the gift that continues to give when you lean into it. The present moment is the present. Take it for all that it has to offer. All right. Woo! I feel good, Eunice. I
I could
feel
tell. You know what? I'm just now realizing that from the few minutes I saw you before we start recording to now, I didn't realize you had the preppy sweater.
you're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's called style. It's called style,
It's called
fashion.
fashion. It's called sabotage.
Fashion.
Mm, okay, this
And
is cute.
I appreciate it, Ken Folk. And of course, I have the green trucker hat available for your own purchase. Anybody listening or watching, go to majorhopefoundation.org and click that store, and you can get one of these trucker hats. They have it in green, tan, brown, and black. You're welcome. I promise you, it'll remind you that hope ain't ever canceled. Let's go. So, how has the week been treating you, Eunice?
Oh man, I'm still on tour. Monday, we go from Friday to Monday. So every weekend I'm out of town. This past weekend we were in Pittsburgh, Baltimore, and New Hampshire. The challenge was the tour bus was in the shop, so I had to rent a car and drive to all these places and then perform and then get to the next place. So I would say this week for me is about restoring, repairing, refreshing, and then we'll be in Kansas City next weekend. But I'm good. I'm excited. It's a big week over here, right?
That was a big difference from where you were in New York last
Schenectady,
week.
Schenectady.
Connectity. Yeah,
You know
that's
what's
right.
been great though? These are all places I've never traveled to. These are all places I've never performed in, and it's like collecting just a lot of people along the way. And they're very a lot of the people that attend these shows are not comedy fans, and so a lot of them have never been to a comedy show, and they're very appreciative of the fun, the lightness of everyone coming into a room to laugh together. So you don't realize that if you've never been to a comedy show, you've never gathered to laugh as a group. It's like,
Wow.
what? Yeah,
Honestly, yeah. So I'm guessing, as I've learned, that the star of this tour, the headliner, is a TikTok sensation,
correct. He
and
does
and
farm chores. And so that's why he has this huge followings. I think it's like 4 million people on TikTok. And but they don't know who he is on stage. And so when he does this thing on stage, it's totally different than when he's hanging out with the chickens and the donkeys. Um
oh, that's epic.
Yeah, so they don't know what to expect. They don't know I even exist, and so it's this fun surprise when I walk on stage, because I'm not him, and
Right.
and and it, It's like this fun challenge because I walk out there, no one knows me, no one cares that I'm there, and in that 20 minutes that I start the show, I got them eating out of the palm of my hand.
Out of the palm of my hands. And you do it well because I've seen you in real time at a comedy show, and I want to see more because that was just probably like a 20-minute slot you had, if that, and you killed that. So
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah.
The show you came to, people can hear on Kevin Hart's LOL network on Sirius Satellite Radio right now.
Oh, yes, of
Mhm.
course, because
Yes,
she's
of
on
course. And
broadcast,
what
ladies
about
and
you?
gentlemen.
What have you been up to? Been making any diva demands this past week?
Listen, Devo, more specifically.
Sorry,
But
Devo demands.
no, because you women just be throwing stuff like when y'all get in moments. Like I remember my mom used to be like, "And girl," and I'm looking like, "Who are you talking to?" Like you know, you women, y'all just be flowing, and you're so used to saying "girl" and all that stuff. But anyway, this debonair, hardworking young gentleman, sometimes mistaken as a Devo, because he
With the
knows
pink
what he
sweater
wants.
tossed about his
This
shoulders.
isn't pink. This is actually tan. This is tan. It's okay. But nevertheless,
Like it's
um,
Eku, it's mauve. Go ahead,
no, no,
finish
no.
telling me how
I'm wearing.
manly you are.
I'm also wearing my mama's green too because I love my mama a whole lot. But this weekend was actually really cool. I did a presentation of my new single, "I Prayed for You," which
Okay.
on Friday I actually did the cover reveal for that for my new single. I'm really excited about it. We've got a really cool video coming up too, so stay tuned November 8th for "I Prayed for You" hitting worldwide. The premiere of the video hits on Friday. I'm super excited about it.
Are you
The
revealing it
message,
with us here? Are we revealing it here?
I mean, I don't mind revealing the cover art with you. Do you have that on deck?
Let's see. Let's see.
Well, let's do it. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Look at that boy. Yes, sir. That's right. I prayed for you.
Now I've seen you perform that song live.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
powerful.
Mm.
You have a really great ability to obviously sing, but you bring in your audiences and it's like a call and response to where we're singing a song that we don't know, but now it's our favorite song. And I heard that song that night. And so hearing that is like, I know this song. I've heard this song.
You
I've
know,
sang this
it's
song.
yeah, it was, yes, it was in Atlanta. You drove up to
Hmm.
Atlanta in support. Um, and I think that just makes the little trailer sizzler, that sizzle that I created all the more necessary. So we'll be sharing that soon with the
We
people
will.
to kind of tell them a little about
No
that
one knows what they're
encounter.
talking about. But before we launched the podcast, Major took a lot of time to put together a little scissor reel to
Ha!
explain what the hope in between is or was to him. And when I tell you, everybody associated with this project that saw the video said, "Oh, okay." And he has been
We
crestfallen ever since.
I worked so hard on it,
You did.
and Eunice, you didn't say, you said everyone associated. You said you liked it, you jerk. Is that you admitting that you actually did it?
Everyone else. I thought we weren't
Okay.
talking present company excluded. Everyone else.
I was about to say when you said everyone attached to it, I was like, oh.
Everyone else.
Nah,
Um,
y'all. I'm gonna post it. I'm gonna post it soon, and we're gonna do a poll. Do you like it,
yeah,
or could you pass? Could you do
yeah.
without?
Pass the
But
trash.
yeah, pass or trash. So I prayed for you. The cover art reveal was revealed on Friday. It seemed to get a lot of love. Yes, the song is actually available on my EP, The Hope of My Soul, but we are promoting it as my new single, and this new video that we shot for it is special. Shout out to Purple Rope Productions on that. Radio, it just went to radio this week, and so look out for that. Y'all can be asking for it. Just say a prayer for your boy, but I know it's timely because in this climate right now, whoo, Lord, we need a good prayer or 20.
Yeah.
Um,
You know what? I
yeah,
pray for you is a throwaway phrase for a lot of people. So a lot of times people say, "Oh, I'm praying for you," or sometimes people will say, "Well, just pray for me." There's no real intention or execution necessarily. I'm gonna tell you one of the most powerful moments that I know I was prayed for was um, a high school friend of mine. You know, we all grew up in the same community. When her grandmother passed away, her grandmother lived next door to my grandmother.
yeah.
When her grandmother passed away, this person I went to school with sent me a message to say she was going through some of her grandmother's journals and she wanted me to know how much her grandma prayed for me because I was on television as a news anchor. I was the black one. And she said, "My grandma prayed for you." And she would write it in her journals. And when I tell you, I can think about it and lose it. And so to
Yo, you got me.
know the power that somebody you don't even know is thinking of you and not just thinking of you, but praying the best for you. Well, that's just next level. So when you sing, I do believe you are praying for everybody that hears you. I believe it.
I think that that's pretty amazing of a story for you to tell about your friend's grandmother praying, because literally that is what the song is about. It's honoring the prayers of past and the prayers of now, not just talking about it, but actually being about it. We do throw away that phrase often. I'm gonna pray for you, and it's like
Mm.
it's not backed up by any action or actually backed up by the actual prayer. And yes, it was the prayers of our ancestors that have us here today with so many possibilities with what's happening, in our political climate. And I'm praying for the world, the country. We know the results are in, and
We
a
just pray
lot of people
for unity,
are
right?
that's
Right?
right, unification.
Yeah.
We're praying for everybody just to realize that whatever side of it you are on, that at the end of the day, you still deserve love, you still deserve hope, and you deserve peace and equitable opportunities. So I'm praying for the world. This song couldn't have come at a better time. The video is coming this Friday, so check it out. Um,
Is that
I
the
sang
video
it.
you shot the night you came to my show? That next day?
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
Yes,
Can't
shout
wait
out
to
to
see it.
Purple Road Productions.
Hmm.
Listen, I'm excited. So that's what I did this weekend. I also voted this weekend.
Hmm.
Ah, I
We're gonna have to pick
exercised.
that up. Let's talk all things election next week.
Okay, absolutely,
Because we'll
absolutely.
have, it's so fresh, it's so new. Next week, the dust will have settled somewhat,
Yeah.
and we can kind
Okay,
of
cool.
look back and have a little bit more perspective. But you said something that reminds me. This is a I know I didn't plan for us to talk about this, but you said we're the prayers of our ancestors. So I used to balk at that concept.
Hmm.
When people would say I'm my ancestors' greatest dreams, I would think my ancestors just were trying
Wildest
to
dreams.
just trying to survive that day, right? I don't know that they dreamed what we have today, and so I would always kind of struggle because I'm very literal with words. It's a beautiful sentiment, but I was like, I don't know if I'm their greatest dreams. I mean, why would they have dreamed this or known this, right? So one day in Los Angeles, I was kind of having a challenging day. I wouldn't say I was discouraged. I just wasn't feeling really top tier. And I was working an event on the Sony's Pictures lot. And there's a fake rainbow because that's where they filmed the Wizard of Oz. Now, that rainbow wasn't in the movie, it was put up later as a monument. So I thought, I'm standing there under this fake rainbow, and I was like, how bad could it be? You're on the Sony Pictures lot in Hollywood under a fake rainbow. It'll be okay. There was a gentleman a few feet away from me eating something. And I looked at him and I said, "What are you eating?" And he said, "Pecans. You want some?" And I said, "No, I'm from Alabama. So I know these ain't no good pecans." And he says, "I'm from Alabama." And so he tells me where he's from. He's from the same place that my dad's side of the family is from, same city in Alabama. So we started talking. He says, "Yeah, I know your family. I know your dad." And I was like, "You don't know, my last name is Elliot." I was like, "You don't know that you know my family." And so he's telling me my actual family's names. He went to school with different people in my family. And so this man, random wink wink man on the Sony's pictures lot eating pecans knows my family. So then he says, "Oh, let me show you something." And he says, "When I went home, I took this picture." And this was like maybe 3 years prior to the night I met him. And he shows me a picture. And the picture is of a slave grave. And the slave said Elliot, Elliott, an old slave. He said, "These are your people." And in that moment of confirmation of, okay, I take back the doubt of being my ancestors' greatest dreams. Because in this moment that I'm standing under this fake rainbow in the Sony picture slot, I meet a stranger who introduces me to my family, to my ancestors.
And
So
even that, see you
I'm
you
telling you, it was next
you
level.
tapping it on into some spaces that is really heart-wrenching, because oftentimes we do let these cliches be said, these colloquial
Yeah.
cliches be
Yeah.
said, without realizing that the intention, I believe that cliches have divine intention to be repeated until it's understood,
Okay.
until it's realized. And I think that that's like God's divine intention with the whole concept of cliche. And um but it's never to reduce or deduce the substance of what is being said, but it's to become so accustomed to hearing it and working it into our everyday fabric, so that the reality of who we are and how we move comes with more intention and more reference. And so when you speak about that quote, which more specifically, it's "We are our ancestors' wildest dreams." So the greatest dreams, that comes with some type of limitation, but wildest is like, it's the stuff that maybe they couldn't put together because of the present moment. The present moment presented a different type of thing, but it's like, but I can still see us being kings and queens and conquerors and achievers of this and that, and what if. And so you are the extension of a dream, and another dream, and another dream, and another dream, so much so that it's wild to even fathom, because the origin of the dream had to be confronted with, your main hope is just freedom.
But think
Your
about it.
greatest hope is just freedom.
But think
But
about it, Major. It's not even that their wildest dreams would have been of that. That would be their memory. They were that before they were enslaved. They would remember being architects and being leaders in agriculture and
yeah,
irrigation and
yeah.
design and fashion. That's why they were able to build this country so magnificently. So,
I love it. I love it. The words of "I prayed for you," as your friend's
mhm.
grandmama said, the literal first words are, "I prayed you take the moment. I prayed you take the time to see that you were special and always on my mind. I prayed for you." And then we take it back to her times. They used to have in the church, and I know they sing it in Alabama. They said, "Somebody prayed for me, had me on their mind, took the time to pray for me. I'm so glad they prayed. I'm so glad they prayed. Eunice, I'm so glad they prayed for me." Stop playing with them. That's it. That's it.
I like the
And
way
I'm
you could
praying
just
for
like
you
drop,
listening.
drop
I'm
a
praying
little,
for you
little
watching.
gold,
We're praying
drop a
for
little
you.
diamonds, little diamond dust here and there. I love it.
I love it. This is beautiful. Thank you so much for just evoking that, Eunice. That was really, really special.
I can't wait for
Um,
everyone to hear it. It'll be on repeat for everybody. It's a song that, yeah, you'll think of everyone you're praying for in real time, and you will think of everyone that's praying for you. So it's a powerful conjurer of a song.
I prayed for you. November
Mhm.
8th, everywhere, beautiful people. So let's get to episode 4, our theme. Woo, when you brought this to me, I was like, yo, ah, I already have thoughts and feelings immediately.
Okay.
So we're gonna say it.
Okay.
Uh, Eunice, what is the theme for today?
Okay. Is the worry ever worth it?
Hmm. Is the
Is the
worry
worry ever worth it?
ever worth it? Is there ever a return on the investment of worry? Mm, mm. I have so many thoughts immediately. Um, I'll let you start, Eunice, and then I can go in.
So, just by definition, worry tends to be a negative forethought, an anticipation of something that you don't want to happen happening. And I think the difference between worrying and maybe planning, or worrying or being concerned or having intention, it's just that. I think if you're worrying without intention, worrying without a plan, there's no return on that. But if there's a thought that says, you know what, I want to make sure I have this, this, and this together. So let me put together an intentional plan to try to forego what could happen because I had the thought of it happening. Then let me do that. But if you just are taking the time and energy and effort that you will never get back, worrying about something that may or may not happen, no, there's no return. And it came to me this weekend because someone at one of the shows took my cell phone off my
Ah,
table with my merchandise
mhm.
and left the venue. So my phone is gone. And that's our lifeline. We live by our phones. I'm in New Hampshire. No, I was in Baltimore, had to drive to New Hampshire next day, and the security, they were going crazy looking for this phone. And I was just so oddly calm because I knew there would be no return on me losing my mind. But I have grown to this place where I don't know. I mean, you get worked up, and then once the resolution has come, you almost feel silly. Like, why did I get so upset? Why did I get so worried? Why was I so anxious? Why did I miss that good time worrying about a time that never happened? And so the whole time security was losing their mind, I was like, I'm quite proud of myself. I don't think there's going to be a payoff in me losing it over this. And I did get the phone back, um, but it never got me out of my space, out of my
Well,
peace.
and I definitely think two things in response to what you're saying. I believe that that type of mindset comes with learned experiences, learned wisdom.
Hmm.
Um, because over time, you're like, what has it ever served me
Right.
to be committed to the anxiety that is the child of worry?
Right.
It's and um it better serves me to identify it as an issue and then decide if I'm going to commit to the peace of surely this thing will resolve itself, or surely this thing may not. So I got to keep it moving, because what point is it to invest the energy there? So this is my thought on, is worry ever worth it? I do believe it is at times. However, I think, like what we talked about in 2 episodes ago when we were talking about kindness requires discipline. I think anything that requires of you, that takes from you, anything that pulls from you, um, requires a stewardship. And I think even with our worry, though the connotation is often negative, it's the staying there that's the problem.
Okay.
Because to have a worry exposes that there is something that is meaningful, um that is to be factored into the issue at hand, that something must mean something to you if you're worried about it. And so I think, if we qualify worry and categorize it as more of an informer as opposed to an invited guest who's overstaying their welcome, I think that will help us to move in life with it without thinking, oh no, all of a sudden I'm worrying, I need to stop. Because I think that the anxiety will compound on itself because you're so busy trying to avoid this this ism of worry that most people would deem as a negative. But at the end of the day, collect the information that worry provides you. Why does it matter? Is it essential? If this happened, how would you be affected? If it didn't happen, how would you be affected? And then the wisdom of what you're saying is, what's the return of investment like on any of this? And so my thing is, acknowledge the worry and get right to the next moment.
Well, see,
Ign-
but here's the thing, though. Here's the thing with that. I like that you say let worry inform you. Yes, because I like information. But then does that then go into something we talked about before about the fix it? Like you don't need to just go into fixing things. So sometimes it's like you can create a problem by worrying and going into an action mode when that might not needed to be what you needed to do, but because you're worried about it, you were trying to be preemptive, but you actually probably, how many times have you tried to get ahead of an issue and you cause more of an issue because the issue
and,
probably wasn't even going to be an issue until you made sure it
Well,
was.
I think it's that border of concern and worry, because worry is a belabored concern, and I think and it's a belabored concern that is then conducted by fear,
Right.
and so my thing is, what I'm saying is, I don't think you should ever stay there.
Hmm.
But I do know that worry kind of is an inevitable reality in our lives when things matter to us
Hmm.
deeply. And the more something matters to you, the more worry is possibly going to be triggered at some point. But I'm saying, if you were ever going to land in the space of worry, land and quickly move out of it. Like,
Hmm.
don't stay there. But I would not encourage people to ever assume worry as your go-to. The concern is one thing, but concern is sober thinking, because concern can then allow you to make the decisions. You can still have that same feeling and move on decision making without it being attached to, to intense emotion, you
Hmm.
know. But yeah, I
Well, let me
just
tell
I
you,
just say bounce
I've
off of it
gotten so
quick.
good at it. I can almost worry about something and forget what I was about to worry about. Have you ever done that? Like it was
Wow.
something was about to make you feel something, and then something else happens. You're like, wait, I was about to be bothered about something. What was I thinking about that was kind of bothering me? And I can't even go back and find it again.
I
So
have
it'll be,
not fully
it'll,
reached that yet.
oh, listen, it is a
That
beautiful
sounds
place.
like heaven.
It really is. Because you know
Yeah.
what? It literally can't matter. Like, I know you're saying if it matters, you worry, but you have to understand it can't really matter that much
Well, I know
at
I
all.
want to
I mean,
clarify,
what
because I'm not
matters,
gonna have
right?
I'm not gonna have you defining me the wrong way, because I
No,
did
not
not
you.
say
I'm saying
if
when
it
we talk
matters
about
you
what
worry.
matters.
I'm saying worry is an indication that something matters to you.
Right, but that's what I'm
Concern,
saying. What matters?
but I'm not saying what matters to you will cause you to worry. It's not interchangeable. I'm saying that what the what you can take from worry, should you trip into this space that I
Mhm.
don't think is the space that I would advocate for, just like depression. I think depression just a part of life that comes a lot to the creative, especially. We wrestle with it a lot more than most people know. To the visionary, that's what happens. But oftentimes in depression, while everyone just kind of speaks about it just being such a dark place, it is also a place of deep introspection. Like, literally your thoughts are saying a lot of things, and I believe that there's ways to be in these negative seasons and to pull from them information that can set you up into a better next moment. And so I'm saying, should you happen to be in these places, I'm not advocating for worry or depression or anxiety at all. I'm just saying, because it's nearly inevitable, because of our societal construct and because of our environmental conditionings, that we're going to most likely land there sometimes. Take information from it and flip it. Because when our mindset, that's what the hope mindset is. When you flip a perspective, it doesn't hold you captive. It doesn't have the power that worry usually does. When worry just traps us, then fear and anxiety do this dance with us, that and they won't stop dancing until you unplug the machine. And so I'm saying, acknowledge it, unplug the machine, and keep it moving, because it's not going to serve you to stay there at all.
So
It's
I think
not.
that's a lot of words to say what I said. Really, nothing really matters. Once you believe that, because it can be something you care about, it can be a person, it can be a situation, you can be attached to an outcome, a hope, a dream, and all those things. But you have to also have a core understanding that none of it matters.
I don't agree.
I know you wouldn't. I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, and
So
that's why
that's
I'm
what I'm
saying,
saying.
maybe it's life lived to help me arrive to what you're saying, but I don't agree that nothing matters. I
No,
don't
but when I
agree
say
with that.
nothing matters, I'm saying that so that's what I'm saying. It sounds like, well, obviously things matter. My family matter, my kids matter, so that's how that sounds. But what I'm saying to you is, in every single situation you will ever be presented in life, okay, and death, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. And so if you put more weight or more value on it having to be a way for you to be okay, then yeah, you're always going to be somewhere between depression and anxiety because you're attached to it being a certain way for it to be okay. When I'm saying, hey, it don't matter how none of this goes, it's going to be okay. It don't matter. It really does not matter. It's going to be okay. When you and I
That's
were
where,
getting together on this podcast, this is where you were like, I need you to care more. I would say to you, however this is supposed to go is how it's going to go based
but
on,
I will also say that I think some of the reason why certain things are unfolding is because, while I may have let go of my grip just a little bit, I didn't fully let go. So when
right.
I would just say, "Okay, Eunice, you're right," and
No, you
then I
never
would
let
be
go of your
like,
grip. That's what I'm
and I
saying.
would, no, 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 I loosened my grip. I didn't hold it as
Loosen.
tight. I didn't hold it as
Is
tight.
that what you call it? That was a loose
Listen,
grip? That was a loose grip?
listen. I'll just say, I do think that that it's that there is a gift that comes in these experiences, um that many people may not see it as. And that's the beauty of this podcast. It's two
Right.
perspectives, coming from two different angles and two different lived experiences. And for me, as a person who kind of lives with a an intention to see life a certain way and to experience life a certain way, I know that I haven't yet arrived to the point of just living without any concern for however it comes together. Like, I literally have goals and intentions, but what I have learned is to be open, like we talked about in
Right. Last
episode
week.
3,
Right.
to
Right.
the different packaging of how it unfolds.
Right.
So I'm
And
not
so that's what I'm saying.
married
It's that.
to
It's that thing
the
of,
outcome. Yeah.
right. It's that thing of when we're talking about, well, do you like this or do you like this? I'm probably going to say, well, you guys decide, because I can appreciate when someone has more of an attachment of how something needs to be than me. I probably will never have an attachment to how something needs to be. Just
Mm.
because it's okay. Whatever, if it's your attachment, and I mean, it could be what we're having for dinner. It can be, now, I will tell you if I don't want to do something. I will tell you if I don't like something. But for the most part, it doesn't matter. Okay, that's cool. Yeah, let's go do that. And so for me, I
But
realize
if
the
you were
energy it takes. I'm not gonna do anything I don't want to do. You will know that I don't want to do something. I'm like, nah, I really don't want to do that. But
but that that inf
if it truly does not matter to me, I'm not. It really does not matter. And I'm saying, the older I get, I'm approaching 50. Most things don't matter in the level of the time it takes to worry about
Yeah.
it, to be anxious about it. Like it comes and goes, and you're like, that's time I could have had back.
Yeah.
I think of
You're right.
every bill I've ever been worried over. It did not matter that
I
that
like
due
what you
date was
just
coming
said.
up.
That's
You know,
time. That's time that I could have had back.
right?
That's time that could have
And it's
had
time
back
I will
because
never get back.
that's what worry is an energy investment.
Exactly.
It
And so guess
really
what?
is.
When you get
Yeah.
further down the line of time, right?
Yeah.
You realize, oh wow, I can look at 10 years that I was worried about, am I going to get married? I can look at 15 years I was worried about, am I going to get that promote? You won't get that time back. That worry
No.
served no purpose. There was no return on the investment. Were you intentional? Was there a plan? So that's different than having a goal and working towards a goal. I'm saying people sit around and worry because, yeah, it's the indoctrination of, don't quit your job. What you going to do about insurance? Don't do this. Wait, what you going to do for retirement? We've been conditioned to worry about all these things. It does not matter at all. Because if you don't have your health, your sanity, your peace, or even your life, that 401k means nothing. And so now
Hmm.
you've stayed at this job for 40 years for the hope of getting this 401k that is decimated in 40 years. It didn't matter. Right. And so imagine a world, whereas we do at the beginning of every episode, that you're present and that you breathe and that you're in the now. Then what am I worried about? Like, this is what
Yeah.
I'm doing right now, right? And then when we're done with this, I'll go to the next moment. I won't worry about the next moment. I'll just go to it and be in that moment and live in that. And so it does take,
Yeah.
I jokingly say I'm on the back nine, like a golf reference. I'm on the back nine holes of this golf course of 18 holes. I can see the clubhouse from here. So what am I going to be worried about or taking time and energy that serves no purpose?
Hmm.
I just don't. And so it might make me seem indifferent or aloof when it's not that at all. I just know some things are going to be worth my time and attention. Most things are not. In
I
a
think
loving way,
that
with
that
love, with love.
I think that I think that is a helpful gift from what you've shared. That some things are worth my time and attention, and most things are not.
Yeah.
Because I definitely think we occupy ourselves with way more than what should concern us.
Too much. And we were never supposed to have the news cycles in our spirits like this. and
That's
and with
right.
the social media, we have everybody's stuff. We know everybody's worst story. I was a TV news anchor for 8 years. Part of me letting that go was I didn't need everybody's worst day in my spirit
Yeah.
every day. I can't manage myself if I got to take everybody's horror stories and that's what I'm eating for breakfast and for lunch and at 5, 6, and 10. And so you have to manage yourself in such a way. They said, I don't need to know that today. Oh, you didn't hear about such and such. It's not for me. I
Huh.
don't need to know. And so, especially in this political season, I will be very honest. In previous elections, I've been very vocal on my social media. This year, I have said zero publicly on my social because I was protecting my peace. I
Yeah.
am uniquely triggered by this particular campaign season we've experienced. As a
Yeah.
Black woman who is generally put in spaces where I'm overqualified and dismissed. And I've been uniquely triggered by people who have offered disqualifications for the overly qualified
Uh,
because of their
yes.
gender and race. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to protect my peace. I have documents and receipts and good God-given sense that I can argue anybody down for any point. It is not worth my peace. I won't get this time back, and I am good with not engaging with anyone about this. And guess what? It's probably the most important thing we're going to be a part of in our lifetimes, right?
It's serving you well.
So well.
Well, to God
So
be the
well.
glory.
So well.
I There's a scripture that is commonly referenced when it says, "Don't pray and worry," because either you're gonna pray or you're gonna worry. The
Can't do
two
both. Yeah.
cannot coexist. It's a waste
Mhm.
of time because it won't get anywhere.
Mhm.
And it's Philippians 4:6-7. It says, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation by prayer and petition with thanksgiving present your requests to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will
Mhm.
guard your hearts and your mind." And I think that that's much of what you've been
Mhm.
talking about. That's a summation of it, in that it doesn't
It
it's
just can't matter. Listen, this past weekend I mentioned the cell phone, but let me back up. The tour bus was in the shop, so we had to kind of get ourselves to all these different
wait,
shows.
what?
So I said that earlier. You don't be listening to me. But listen, so the
No,
merchandise,
no,
the
no.
book.
What you said, you told me that you had to drive everywhere. But you didn't tell me the tour bus was in the shop.
That's why we had to drive, because the tour bus was in the shop. So that was the first thing that was like, oh, okay, it's an
Lord of
inconvenience,
mercy.
but okay, rent the car, pay for the one-way drop from Pittsburgh to New Hampshire. Okay, guess what? No merchandise to sell. So I have invested money. Books that you're all
Yeah,
get it couldn't come. It didn't make it. The trailer didn't come, right? And so when I was sharing this with different people, like, yeah, and I don't have any merch to sell at the shows, whatever. Everybody's like, oh no, oh, and you could. And I said, this is probably top tier first world problem. Like,
that part.
I
That part,
mean,
Eunice.
I can't, what are we talking about? You know what I'm saying? And so yes, all these things. Oh, that's a disappointment. Oh, that's oh, you had to spend more money to get there, and then you didn't even make any money. And guess what happened? I have yet to lose a pound to poverty. I
Mm-hmm.
show up and I make people laugh and
Woo!
smile, and
Yeah.
people can't get enough of my light and love and energy. What are we talking about? So no, and when I tell you, this weekend tested us on a lot of different levels of, oh, there's a thing. And I said, I'm pretty sure these are all first world problems. So guys, I'm pretty sure this is not going to matter. And let me tell you, someone I think she got offended. I'm not sure. Who cares? But she was pregnant.
Oh,
And someone asked this lady that we were in conversation with, this was a couple of months ago, and they said, do you know what you're having? She wasn't talking to me. I just was in the room. And
oh
she said, we
Lord.
want to be surprised. And I said, but it's going to be a
Okay.
girl or a boy, though, right?
Yo, please.
But I'm saying that is an example.
Eunice.
No, but I'm saying, but that is an
Eunice.
example. Well,
Eunice.
here's my point. Here's my point. It is going, I mean, is it going to be a baby giraffe? Then, okay, surprise.
Eunice.
So if you're
Eunice.
telling me it's going to be a girl or a boy, you are creating an event over something that it's going to be either this or it's going to be either that.
Eunice. Eunice, let people enjoy the adventure of possibilities even beyond the not ever gonna happen. Can you just
Listen,
chill?
if you're going to have a baby
Goodness
porcupine,
gracious.
I want to know about that. But you're going to have, it's going to be a boy or a
Eunice.
girl. Relax. We want to be surprised, but it's going to be this or this, right?
Eunice, you gotta knock it off. So beautiful people, while worrying is not worth your time, you hold on to the naivete of your youth and the great imagination of your experiences. Don't let jaded,
No,
it's
I'm
either
not
this or
jaded.
that, be the new
Listen, I am
informants
not
of how
jaded
you
at
move.
all. And you know what?
Lord of
I am a great
mercy.
adventurer. I'm a great adventurer. I packed up and drove me and my dogs to California alone, and I'm out on tour by myself. I'm a great adventurer. I'm saying so many times we create events over things that it's going to be this or that, right? And so guess what? It limits your true adventures, because you got to have a whole party to say it's a boy or girl.
Eunice,
It's a
enough. We are
baby.
moving.
You
We are
want a
moving on.
healthy, happy baby.
We are moving on. Talk about the headliner.
You want a happy, healthy
Golly, she's
baby.
tough, y'all. She
Who
is tough.
cares? If it's a boy or girl, you want a
Listen,
happy, healthy baby. The end.
okay. Okay. All right. So, real quick, tell me a little bit more about your headliner, because I want to like see some more of the stuff he's got on TikTok, right?
Yes. So he got really popular on TikTok. His name is Matt Matthews from Alabama, from the same hometown I'm from in Alabama.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he has a farm, and he goes out on his farm in his robe, and he just started uploading videos of him feeding his chickens or cussing out his donkey, and people just fell in love with him. And I'm telling you, it's like lightning in a bottle. And so people show up to the shows in robes. He sells robes as part of his merchandise. People show up with their fake chickens, because a lot of you would be surprised how many people have chickens. I've been surprised by how many people across the country
There's
have
a lot
chickens.
of chickens in the world.
Yeah,
It's
and so
really
he
wild.
he reached out to me before I moved out to LA and said, "Hey, people tell me I should try stand up comedy. I know you teach comedy and write for other comedians." I had never heard of him at that time, but I went to his TikTok and was like, "He has this massive following. Let's see." And so I put him on stage right before I went to LA. So about a year and a half, 18 months ago, 2 years ago. 2 years ago, actually, last weekend was 2 years ago from that message. And when I tell you, he blew up. He's signed to CAA now. The second headlining tour is produced by Live Nation, and I'm
And
his
you're on
opening.
it.
Yeah. But you know what? There's no ego attached because people are like, you've been doing comedy for 17 years. You put him on stage. You write for him. I'm like, listen, this
But how
person.
powerful is it that the generation of new talent has opened these doors
Yeah.
for the ones that have been on the grind in a different way. Like I know Mike Epps just recently, he was just like, listen, I got to embrace these young cats.
Right.
they
Right.
they opening doors for me. They're introducing people to me.
And it's a different audience. You get a, like I said, his audience probably has never been to a comedy show ever. Most of
Wow.
them, they're like, I've never been to a comedy show. But guess what? They like him. They like the farm animals. They come and they see comedy. They discover me. I told my mom, I said, boy, I'm getting discovered. These folks, I'm calling everybody Christopher Columbus because they swear they discovered me. People come up to me
Yeah.
and say, I Googled you. You know, you've done a lot of stuff. I'm like, I know, right? So it's fun to gift myself to so many people that probably would have never found me, on their own. But also his audience is unique to him. They love him, and so that's the
Yeah.
thing. That's not going to be everybody's situation.
Matthews.
Matt Matthews.
Matt Matthews
Yes.
on TikTok. And
Yes.
listen, I'm super excited to learn more about him. I just have a feeling he's probably super hilarious just naturally.
Yes, he
Um,
is.
and so I look forward to looking up. I need to get more involved on TikTok anyway. But to the world, yes, an election happened. Yes, your candidate may or may not have taken the win. But this message, this theme of is worry ever worth it? I need the jewels, the gems that were shared. You can't get the time back, as my sister Eunice so eloquently and rigidly stated. Um, but I'll leave you with this pep talk from the Major Hope Pep Talks, available everywhere. Don't worry. Okay, so I need your heart, your mind, and your ears locked in on this one. I got to help somebody, Eunice. So, a matter of fact, I want us to do one more woosah. Deep breath in, let it out. You're worried. I know. You're worried. You're worried. You're worried. And that's okay. But check this, worry isn't the problem. It's staying in the state of worry that's the danger zone, because the benefit of worry is that worry helps you to identify the problem, yes. But once you've identified the problem, it is on you to get out of that space and start working towards finding a solution. You're not going to get to a resolution until you've decided it's time to find it. When it's time to find it, that's how much sooner you'll get there, to the resolution, that is. I'm just trying to help you, because all worry does is take away the rational thought. It's like paralysis. It literally paralyzes your wisdom, your skill, your fortitude to overcome the circumstance. And it also kind of clouds your vision of all of the stuff that actually is in line, working for you in real time. So, okay, you've done enough worrying. So, again, take a deep breath in and let it out. And let's start working, not worrying, towards a solution. Beautiful people, this has been yet another really good episode of The Hope in Between with Major and my good sister Eunice. Eunice, tell the people goodbye, farewell, and until next time.
Goodbye, Major.
Goodbye, Eunice. Goodbye, y'all.